There are creatures science refuses to recognize, but new technology makes us question what is real. If our eyes see it, if our cameras capture it, does it exist? Enter a realm where fact meets fiction, science meets legend, where nightmares come to life. Do you believe?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Scary Stories We Tell. I'm your host, Chris Dashu, and I'm joined by my good friend, the Dover Demon herself, dude.
The Dolan Demon.
The Dolan Demon.
The Dolan Demon, brother.
The Dolan Demon is here. He's here. He's here.
Yay!
Well, yeah, my good friend and yours, Maggie the Odd.
Hi, gang. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome, Maggie. And God, Lost Tapes Chronicles, we're at the end of the second season. What is going on with that? We're here.
I know we made it. It was a long marathon for this one. Let me tell you.
This has been a long season.
And man, what a weird up and down. It's a roller coaster ride for the episodes on this one.
Oh my God, yeah. But boy, I will say, compared to last season, I will say, and you might agree with me, that this season goes out on a rather high note.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate this one.
Yeah, so on this episode of Lost Tapes Chronicles, we're rounding out season 2 with a look at a creature that's totally not just a moose. The Dover Demon from, where you might ask? Dover, Massachusetts. Who would have thought?
I know, it's magical.
Right. So this episode of Lost Tapes is about the Dover Demon, a creature seen exclusively on April 21st and April 22nd of 1977 in Dover, Massachusetts by William Bill Bartlett, who claimed that he saw the large creature with tendril-like fingers and glowing eyes on top of a broken stone. 2 more 15-year-olds the same evening claimed they saw the same thing, and the boy swore on a stack of Bibles that he saw the creature.
I don't know why a stack would also make it more legit.
I swear on a stack of Bibles. Like, I swear on a stack of Fletch One. I don't know. Like, I swear
Were they
on
misprints? Did you get, like, a good deal on Bibles?
Yeah, like, why the fuck you have a stack of fucking Bibles?
Shit, son.
Yeah, so yeah, I swear on it. So he wrote on his sketch, I swear on a stack of Bibles I saw this creature. You know what? Let's just get into the episode before we talk about the creature.
Yeah, I know. We got to dial it back.
Let's wind it back. So now that you understand what the creature is, the creature essentially, I would describe it as alien-esque, gray-esque, right? We're talking grays here. For those of you that in the know in the alien community.
Yeah, you know.
Our friends at MUFON. It would be a gray adjacent, creature. I don't know. It looks like an alien, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a smaller dude with big ol' eyes.
Yeah. But so in the episode, you have a scamster, good old Chad, who's trying to pull a fast one on everybody and fake a film. Make a fake. Yeah, we're essentially saying the same thing. Make a fake film of the Dover Demon sighting, I guess, or just
that's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that one.
But things don't go as planned. So it's one of those, they go out to fake it, and in going out to fake it, they find the real Dover Demon.
Which, man, such a good trope. I love that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's one of the, especially when we're talking about cryptids and other things, like you went looking for it and you found it. Like I'm
classic.
I'm with you on that. I will say though, I think for me personally, this is just me, I think it's a little tired and a little lazy and a little cheap.
It can be tired. It can definitely be cheap. But, I mean, they put in enough effort on this one where I'm giving them a pass.
That's what I was saying. It can be. But in this episode, I think they actually do it rather well. And I will kind of contend why. This story, where you go looking for something and you find it, you cannot survive. Like, that for me is like the big, like, the people have to die.
Right.
Like, because, like, say in a story like, say, a monster movie like Deep Rising, where it's like people on a cruise, right? Those people didn't ask to have the monster attack them, so you feel infinitely worse for them. If you go into the woods looking for something and you find it, should I really feel bad for you? Like,
or if you're going to make a mockery of it, like that's
that's where you
kicker on that one,
right? And that's that's where I was going with that. It's like, and then if you add on top of that, like being disrespectful dickheads, like you said, I mean, it makes it
for that monster.
Yeah, the Dover Demon, I want it to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's why I'm saying like this can work, but you have to do that. They all have to die because they need to stand as examples as to why you don't do that, because that's why you tell these stories.
Exactly. It perpetuates the legend. So
right.
Good move. And I will say I did enjoy this one way more than another movie that I know that does this trope, which is Blair Witch 2. It's like, you know what? I like this episode more than that movie. Well done.
It's actually really funny that you mentioned that, because I was trying to think of like, what is the other kind of like, where does that, is it that? Okay.
Gosh.
I mean, it's kind of Blair Witch in general, right? Like even, I guess almost at least.
By nature, honestly.
Are you talking about Blair Witch 2, the movie, or Blair Witch the remake?
Blair Witch 2, the movie, where it had the goth chick in it.
Oh, and Book of Shadows. Group of
annoying Tims. Yeah.
Okay.
Annoying teens going out and being like, yeah,
Tims.
It was so cool.
Careful, Tim.
Goddamn Tims. Quit looking for the Blair Witch.
Stop looking for the Tim. I thought you were talking about the remake of Blair Witch. I've never seen the Book of Shadows.
Oh, dude. It's
from what I've heard, it's something.
Yeah. I mean,
directed by fucking Joe Berlinger, the guy who did like all the Paradise Lost documentaries about the West Memphis 3. I think he directed that movie. It's not. I don't think it's directed by the original. I think it's maybe written by the original directors or something.
It would not have been the same director.
Look, I think Blair Witch is just fun. Look, this.
Yeah, I like the first one.
This show doesn't exist without Blair Witch. Like I'm honestly shocked, Maggie, that we are finally bringing up Blair Witch in the final episode of the second season. Yeah. We've gone 24 episodes of almost 24. I think you were on maybe like the first two. So we've gone over 20 episodes without mentioning the thing that inspired this whole show.
Because it honestly goes without saying, because it is a quintessential found footage stepping stone. It just is.
Yeah, I mean, it totally is.
But for real, Book of Shadows sucks. This one actually succeeds with the trope of let's go fuck with this thing that may or may not exist. Edgy crap. This one, I even like the actors that they picked for this. They all did a bang up job, I thought.
I mean, it was the thing that I think benefited. I think the thing that benefited this the most was it being a short form narrative.
Yeah.
Like it being literally fucking 22 minutes long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And again, you feel bad enough for the main people, but they are kind of scummy.
Yeah, they were poking the bear.
Yeah, yeah. Like you poke the bear will poke back. And look, the thing is, the Dover Demon, the way it's described, the way I literally described it at the beginning of this episode, it's not aggressive. It didn't do anything.
Really. And a lot of the scientific stuff that they were throwing around, it was interesting. They did the two truths and a lie thing that they're really good at. But the ones that I was interested in was the fact that they brought up the fake Bigfoot that was full of entrails, because I forgot about that story where they actually had a city council meeting.
Yeah.
Which they only brought up because of the end of the episode, which I also appreciate, because how cool is that little loop in since they used the fake costume and shit. But like at the same time, then they also brought in the guy that's like, well, I could honestly say that I don't know what the hell this is. Right after the woman that said it's probably the big-eyed monkey things. I always forget what they're called. The little, they're not monkeys. They have the big
Bush
eyes.
babies?
Yes. What's that?
Bush baby marmosets? I know what you're talking about. They're thing, but like, how the fuck would that have gotten out into fucking Dover?
That's
like those things are also tiny.
Immense. Okay, but people do have weird ass pets. I'll vouch for that.
A 3 foot tall bush baby.
Fuck it. You never know.
I mean, again, there are stranger things in heaven, in between heaven and hell. Like,
I just love that weird connection that they were trying to draw. I was actually amused by this slew of unrelated animal nonsense that they were throwing at me. But
and here's the thing. So there is a creature called the Monagishi, which is from the Cree folklore, which is indigenous people. And those were primarily indigenous in Canada. And they have a story of, again, this creature, the Monagishi, which is a long-limbed creature that has long limbs, and it has a big head and no nose, and it lives in damp areas with bodies of water, and they crawl out of rocks and capsize people's canoes and fuck with people, and they just taunt them. I don't want to do what we did last episode. Well, there's a story of the people in the area that have a story of, but I'm talking about something that we can actually back up here, not just fucking the local people said. Like, the local people can say all kinds of things, unless you can give me a name and I can look it up, like the Monagishi. But again, like, still, that's not what this is. I think the thing that's surprising more than anything else is that they only saw this thing 2 nights. 3 different groups of people, 2 nights in 77. That's
what I like about it. Honestly, I think it's more believable that it was such an isolated event. Like, it wasn't like the Jersey Devil that comes back every now and then. It was one incident. And I like that. It's a lot more believable in that scope for me, because why would it stay, or why would it still be alive?
Right. Why would it stick around? Like, and I again, like, I think for me, I'm with you. Like, the idea that this thing just kind of was like here and then left, like, I think it's infinitely more interesting than it being like the Loch Ness Monster.
Right. It gets a bit too Santa Claus-y for me. It's like, he comes back every year.
Yeah, there he is again. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what the fuck? Why? Because again, like, again, that for me is always like with Jersey Devil and other things, like, that's a human projection onto something that doesn't necessarily, and more than likely doesn't operate within our logical bounds of our thinking. Again, animals, I'm not saying animals don't have logic, because I think it's unfair to say that they don't, but they don't operate on the same laws of logic that humans can kind of ascribe to. Yeah. So it being like, it comes back every 23 years. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on. Like, what the fuck? It just knows. It just wakes up every 23 years. Like, if you're doing a horror movie, like the Jeepers Creepers thing, sure. But like in real life, like,
but he was sentient enough to have like a plan.
But that's my point. Like, different. That's right. Exactly. But my point is, like, if you're doing a horror movie, that's a scary thing. But in real life, like, it doesn't work that way.
No, it's not like it's a migration of one. That's not quite how it works.
Right. And again, and the whole migration thing, like, I don't know how I feel about, like, saying, like, Bigfoots migrate. Like, do Bigfoots migrate? Or are they just, like, pockets of Bigfoots around the country?
Yeah. See, I would find that under the scope of Bigfoot a lot more plausible than this incident, just because there have been multiple sightings, which could also be indicative of multiple Bigfoots. So migration in a group would make sense. But honestly, it seems like they're a lot more just one spot or one area, I should say, that they exist. Yeah. And there's another batch of them. It's not like the monarch butterfly.
They know where they're going. Like,
they just do what they do, man.
Yeah. I don't know. The Dover Demon for me, like, thinking about it, because again, it looks like an alien and it sounds kind of like an alien, and
the description is pretty, and the incident for that matter,
right? Like, that's like this thing crawling on a wall, like the hands and what it's talking about kind of remind me of like some of the artwork that they would use for stuff involved with, like, War of the Worlds. Yes, you know, it's very definitely like suction cuppy finger, long tenderly thing, like, you know, which is, I guess it's kind of scary. I don't know. That's the thing. Again, with this cryptid, with the kind of lack of information that's given, there's a write-up in the Bangor Daily News from 77 that you can read online. But, like, the episode gives more to you than even really exists in the kind of associated ephemera with the Dover Demon. They're kind of like doing the work for you. And also they're kind of informing you about the Dover Demon that's in the show. Because the Dover Demon that's in the show, it's a dude in a mask.
Yeah.
We didn't even really talk about it yet, but it's a dude in a mask, and it's actually
spoiler alert.
Right. And there's what's funny is I don't know about you, but I'm fucking neurotic when it comes to TV. So whenever I watch a TV show that has stuff from the show in the intro, yes. I always look for when that shows up in the show.
Yep.
And this has one of those scenes that's like front and center in the intro for the show, which is
Yep.
There's a shot where it's like the camera is looking another direction, and then you see it point at a guy, and he's like, "Oh, I got the night vision." Click it on, and then there's the fucking the thing is like in the trees, and that's from the intro of the show, and it's actually a pretty effective scare, frankly. Like,
I enjoyed
for a show that is
was
not
good.
Scary at all. You know, for the most part, it's not even like...
for this age bracket that we're in right now.
Oh my God, did you see that thing in the fucking tree? Like, yeah, okay. It's a dude it's a dude in a mask though, and that's the problem.
Yeah, if you look at it for any longer than the 5 seconds of the jump scare, well, less than, it starts to unravel just a bit. But I also think that actually can be smoothed over a little bit more because they were dealing with like the fake costume thing. It's almost like a double down on that. I don't know if I'm thinking too far in on that move, but
I mean, I think that's kind of the way they got away. The way that they get away with this episode. Out. Yeah. I think they kind of smoothed off the edges because like they show how bad the costume looks. So it's like they don't have far to go to not look as bad as the costume. It's smart. It's effective storytelling.
Exactly. It felt like a very well-intentioned tongue-in-cheek jab at themselves. And it really worked. I mean, for the episode, it worked. They carried their weight on this one, which was very pleasant because the Dover Demon I was worried about because it is kind of one of the upper tier cryptids out there. Even though it was one isolated moment, I've seen way more videos about the Dover Demon than I have for like half the batch of season 2.
Well, so that's the thing. So looking back at season 2, I think for me...
Memories.
Like the corners of my mind. I think for me, and I don't know if this is just proximity to it, but I think this might be the best episode of season 2.
Yeah, I mean,
this might be one of the best episodes of the show.
I mean, considering season 2 definitely like outweighed season 1 by a significant degree, I don't blame you on that one. There were some nice key moments. There were some excellent effects. This one is also no stranger to the gore factor that they incorporated in season 2. So I did appreciate that. That leg wound. Bleh.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. I mean, you know, there have been some episodes that have had a little bit of gore. The Lizard Man episode, that was a good one. The Southern Sasquatch, I think, was also another good one with some kind of halfway decent gore.
Yeah, and I did like the interviews they did on that one. They actually had the locals talk about it, which was very refreshing.
But then you have things like the White River Monster and the Bear Lake Monster.
The Centipede.
Oh my God, the giant
Although
centipede.
The tent scene, I will say, was pretty cool. The Death Worm, I wanted to be better, but holy shit. It's in the middle of the desert with four-wheelers. It's just...
Yeah, was that this season or last season?
That was early this season, I want to say.
No, that was late last season.
What?
Yeah, it feels like this season. That episode does feel like a this season episode. Because it
had a bit more going on for it, considering, but
you're getting it confused with that stupid centipede episode.
I know. I like the tent scene, but that was just because they finally did something other than just ruffle the tent and be like, "Whoa, what was that?
Careful now!"
Yeah. Okay, right? No,
yeah, and I think probably for me, taking the water monster episodes out because they're so kind of intrinsically bad that they don't even deserve to be mentioned in what are the kind of not great episodes of the season. I think for me, my least favorite episode of the season would probably have to go to the werewolf one.
Oh yeah, that one was dismal. That one was predictably dismal. Yeah, I blocked that one out of my memory. Holy
It was
shit.
so fucking generically bad, like aggressively generic.
Yeah,
Like,
they didn't add anything to the table. They made it a weird drama where they tried to do the old twist, but you saw it a mile away.
right.
No good
Yeah.
effects, really.
Nope. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, there's something inside the house. Bang, 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 bang. Like, oh my God, we've seen this a million times.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was along the same lines as the Skinwalker one from season 1, where it was
Right.
just like you had a wealth of things to do. None of the animal facts lined up with what you were talking about, and it was just predictable and terrible.
And I think
nah.
and I think this season has the worst episodes that we've seen of the show so far, because I would go as far as to say the insect episode is just, it has no place in this show at all.
See, I don't mind the insect episode half as much as I do the Iraqi vampire bat woman
Right.
Greek monster one, because
Right.
they floundered so damn hard and it just did not seem worth the location they chose.
Yeah, no, but
That was-
yeah.
that was just
the
weird.
alien one, just like my issue with the alien one still stands. Like, if you're gonna do all the other kind of big boys of the cryptid
that's
world,
right. That episode was terrible too.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the alien, like the insect alien episode is just like it doesn't even belong in this show. It's not even in the same fucking genre of shit that the show should be talking about. Like, if they were gonna do it, they should have done Greys. Like, and just leave it at that. And like the Dover Demon was close, but even they backed the Dover Demon away from looking like an alien in the episode. Doesn't even really look like an alien.
Yeah, they skirted that around hard because they already had the alien episode. Yeah. I'm still completely baffled that they didn't do the grinning man. That was such a popular cryptid when I was like a teen in this era. It's like you could find so many accounts of spotting the grinning man. It's an alien, maybe. And it's more specific. I think when they have more broad stroke cryptids, they really flounder hard.
Yeah, I agree. And then, probably the I would say, if we leave the water monsters in, I think the worst episode of this show is the Bear Lake episode, because
yeah, hands down.
the Oklahoma octopus was
so
one
boring.
thing, inventing something, but going and trying to justify something that's literally a parody now to even the people that live there is like, you guys are really, you really could have fucking gone anywhere else, and you chose to just go here. And yeah, I think for me, that's the worst episode of this show so far.
Yeah, that's such a painfully bland episode. That is the equivalent of like, if this episode were a person, it is when you're playing dodgeball and there's the one kid that just hangs in the back so that they don't get hit, and then they just randomly wander off because they're tired of playing and they pretend like they got out. That was that episode for me. It's just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, and again, I don't know who that episode is for when the creature that they're talking about isn't even real. So
cute. You guys just wanted to splash around in a lake. You guys can just splash around in a lake.
Or I guess it really is the cheapest option to just.
Or it was just on back catalog, like you've been saying, where it's just like, well, we got to use this footage somewhere.
Yeah,
it's the actresses.
It really is the cheapest option. Just like, we could just say it's whatever. So. Yeah, I think for me, like I said, that this Dover Demon episode really stands out as the best of the second season, and for sure, it's in it's at the top for the show. I think in general.
Yeah, that was a really good one. That really, really was.
Like, to think about the other good episodes of the show, they're interesting, but they don't hang together narratively. Like, this episode actually hung together narratively, and the footage, the way they capture it, makes sense. Like, I'm not questioning, like, why is the camera running? Because, like, here it is. Like, the show could end here, and I'd be like, this is about as good as the show will probably ever get.
Right. Curious why they didn't give them another season, because that last episode was a banger.
Right.
It was the most cohesive, beginning to end, between the facts, between the narrative, between why it was found footage to begin with.
It's like if the Owlman episode had a good payoff.
Oh God!
Because the Owlman episode was close. Like, the Owlman episode had a moment where it was like, this could be the episode where the show really does something great, and it fucking it falters. It doesn't flounder, but it kind of loses
it was enough
a step.
of a trip to lose it.
Yeah, it lost a step, but like this episode from start to finish, like I'm on board. The people aren't aggressively assholes, but they get what they deserve. And I think it's proper brutal. I mean, yeah, the leg breaking is pretty gross. Mm-hmm. They all eat shit in the end. Their bodies
decent
are literally
jump scare.
Yeah, the decent jump scare from the show's intro. And they all are dead at the end, and their bodies are never found. So
right.
Fucking it's pretty brutal. Like the show is it's up the ante a little bit because it was kind of like one or two people here and there. This episode's like, no, they're all dead.
No, seriously, we're wiping it clean.
Yeah, goodbye. So yeah, no, I really like this episode. This was a good episode of the show.
Agreed. I that was probably the most engaged with an episode I have been for a hot minute on this one.
Yeah. And so what's funny is as we bring this second season of the show to a close, the thing that I have found out that you will find out as you embark on the third season, because I've already watched the first episode.
Oh.
The rest of the show is like this.
Ooh.
It is more narratively driven. Like
okay.
It really leans into a narrative. And I will tell you, to give you a little hint, a little clue of where this is going, there may even be a connected narrative.
I was about to ask. Oh, we're finally getting into some fucking retcon shit. Let's go.
Yeah. So I believe there are at least one or two episodes where there is some sort of underlying thing going on.
As it should be, because technically if these cryptids exist, they are kind of in the same universe.
Right. Yeah. It's the Enigma Corporation.
Oh, jeez.
They're brought up in the first episode of the third season, which I have watched. It is called Zombie. And it has a sequence in it that I am super excited to talk with you about because it is directly inspired by something that I'm not surprised, but it's very telling of a time and place when it was being made and the things that it was kind of being made in relation to.
Gotcha.
So you'll see when we get there, but yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I think season 2 of the show overall pretty good.
Yeah, it was definitely entertaining. I would say that it was worth sitting through the duration of the first season to get to these.
You know, it had the best, again, my approximation, it has the best and worst episodes of the show. But
yeah, well, that's the high risk, high reward scenario.
Right, exactly. So like that being the case, like I think for me, it definitely, the highs in season 2 are definitely higher than the highs in season 1.
I just appreciate a risk in television. Hell yeah.
Do something different. I mean, again, you can only survive on this is a family in the desert for so long. Like give us an actual fucking narrative. And like I said, they're going there. So, but as for our friend, as we bring this episode to a close, as for our friend, the Dover Demon, where do you come down on our pal, the Dover Demon?
Oh, if there was a sighting in the 70s.
Sure.
Or if men in masks exist.
or if somebody saw something that wasn't a demon. It was just a creature that could be explained away terrestrially.
You know, considering the scope of the 70s already had the exposure to gray aliens being a thing, it kind of sounds like somebody saw a creature and then just defaulted to, oh, it's this, but it's in this area, so we're counting it as our own. That's kind of where I'm sitting on this one, where they wanted some local lore and it was a weird enough story and sighting where it was, you know, worthy of making its own individual cryptid out of.
Right. Because that's the thing. I mean, this is its kind of singularly owned thing. This is not a Bigfoot adjacent. This is not this is like the Jersey Devil. This is like the Mothman. Like this is its own, this just ubiquitous. It is in and of itself its own thing.
And I mean, it's totally plausible that it was just some foreign animal that was just there for 2 days and then moseyed elsewhere.
Yeah, I think, looking at it and looking at the picture, and as someone who has been up into that area of the world several times, very heavily wooded northeastern country of this country, I went into the Northeast in Maine in 2015, 2016 to go hunting with my dad up there in Maine. And I remember to get to some of the stands that we would sit in, we had to go kind of on some back roads in these pickup trucks with the other hunters.
Ooh.
And they would always talk about like, hey, keep your eyes open for moose and stuff and let us know if you see any, because if we hit a moose, we will fucking die. Like,
yeah, they're huge.
Right.
Seeing them in person is scary as shit.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah. And so as someone who almost hit an elk in the last 8 months will tell you that, it's scary shit to see it, but we did see a moose near the car when we were driving, and it was as tall as a fucking gigantic Ford F-150 pickup truck, and it's scary.
Yep.
Why do I say all of this, though? I say all of this because some people have suggested that it's a moose calf, a small baby moose. And I will tell you, if you are looking at a moose head on, it does kind of look like that picture. If you take the horns off.
With the nostrils, you betcha.
Yeah. And that the elongated face, it looks kind of like a moose. And could it be a baby moose? Yeah, because it couldn't be an adult one, because an adult one's 12 feet fucking. It's not 12 feet.
You would know,
right? An adult moose is as high off the ground. Its head is as high off the ground as a suburban's window.
Bingo.
I mean, it's like 6 or 7 feet off the ground. So it's one of those things where, if it's anything, I believe it's probably a baby moose, because it kind of looks like it in the face. And the limbs, actually, you know what? The limbs, kind of long and lanky limbs, when you think about baby deers or things falling all over themselves.
And if it's in the middle of the night and you see one wandering around by itself without the context of having a parent around.
Right. And it doesn't have horns because it's a baby.
Right. It's totally plausible.
Right. And you know what? Is that an exciting story? No. Because a baby moose is just a baby moose. It's not an intergalactic demon or a whatever this. I mean, again, this creature is rather poorly defined. So it's more of we know what it looks like. We know less about what it has done, because given that it doesn't have a preponderance of interactions with people, seemingly only 1-2 evening stand of them. Yeah. I don't really know much about it. So, the show's definition of the Dover Demon is frankly as valid as the real definition, because the show goes out of its way to kind of make this something a little bit scarier, a little bit more menacing than the real thing. Because well, again, Lost Tapes, right? Horror show. But the actual creature has zero menacing bones in its body, seemingly.
Yeah, it was a sighting. It was a story of a sighting.
Yeah, it just walked on by and that was it. Maybe if it had seen them, it would have attacked them. But the picture that he drew is of a creature looking directly at him. So I don't know. That's where I come down. I would like to believe, as we all would, that there was something called the Dover Demon, or some creature was seen that evening that's not terrestrial, but I think we all know what it probably was: a misidentified creature that lives in this country, that is hunted in this country legally, and that is, when it is a baby, large and does not have horns.
Yeah.
And that creature is Maggie the Odd.
Yes, it is.
You
witness me in the 70s.
Yeah. But I think that's where I think that's me. And I think that's okay. I think that's the other thing about this show that I do appreciate, is it allows us to kind of be a little honest and upfront about these cryptids.
Oh, yeah. Because, while it's giving you this crazy narrative, it's also giving you facts about it.
Right. So
in some episodes, more successful of a linear thought cycle to it than some others. But this one, they gave some decent examples of what logically it could be, or something that looks similar to, whether it was in the area at the time or not. But yeah.
I think ultimately for me, this episode and this creature, the episode is so entertaining, the creature being real or not is kind of secondary. And I think that's when this show, it's at its most successful.
When they actually let loose and they're like, no, we're doing this story. When they actually have a story to tell. It's not like they're checking off a list of okay, well, we have to do the Jersey Devil show. Right.
And it's
it's the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, it's and how do we tell that story? And it's come on, I know better, you know better, we all know better, and someone is paying you to do better, so do better. Yeah, just do better. I don't expect a lot from people that make content, but if I got a chance to work on this show, if you got a chance to work on this fucking show, I'd go ape shit. Like,
no joke.
Within financial reality, I'd go ape shit. But like, I would be
but
fucking
you can do a lot,
right? And I would be making sure that this is like that. This show really packs a fucking punch because like this episode, it is the most successful and the scariest that this show has been so far.
Yeah, they did a bang up job for this one. Unnecessarily so. It's almost like they lowered our expectations just to throw it into the atmosphere. And it's like, oh, I see.
I see you guys actually. I see you actually can fucking give a shit. Like, congratulations. Good job.
They saved the best for last. That was definitely one of those situations.
Yeah. So we'll be coming to you the next time the Lost Tapes Chronicles comes to you. We'll be talking about the 25th episode of the show, but the first episode of the 3rd season.
Yay!
Aptly titled Zombies. And can you guess what they're going to be talking about in that episode?
Oh, hang on. I got it.
Right. It's at the tip of my tongue.
Zombies.
Brains.
Brains?
Yeah, but we'll talk about it when we talk about it. Not to get your hopes up or down, but
love it.
Yeah. Until then, Maggie, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me Instagram at Maggie the Odd, TikTok at Dolin the Odd, and all of my comics, doodles, and whatever other creations that I need to update because it's a little neglected. My bad. My website, dolinmuseum.com, DOLIN museum.com.
As for me, cstachiw.com, cstachiw.com. That's my link tree. Go there for all the things that I work on that you might want to listen to. Culture Cast, Shabby Detective, well, those things, go there. If you're into it, cool. If not, I don't know. Why?
Don't listen. I
don't know why you're here. Maggie, thank you so much as always for the album artwork. You do an awesome job, as does Dustin Rutledge, as does our good friend, Mr. Alex Malnica-Blondo, for the album, for the music for the show. Yeah. As for the show, ScaryStoriesWeTell.com, Scary Stories WT, all those places. Go there, look for us, listen. And Maggie, thank you so much for joining me. What are we going to do when we're done? What are we going to do the next time we're done with this? We're going to have to figure something else out.
Yeah, I'm going to have to deal with this loss, man.
The loss of the lost tapes. Those tapes are lost now.
Maybe we could do 1,000 Ways to Die and cringe internally at that one. Oh
my God.
You remember that trauma inducer?
Ooh, that show. That's like a core memory. What was that, Spike TV?
I don't remember, but anytime it was on, it's just like another reason why I fear living.
Do you remember the one time where it was like the guy got killed by a meteorite? Like, bro, that's like shit luck times 1,000. The one that I
remember is the fucking airplane propeller that sucked the guy in, and they actually showed the footage.
Well, didn't that guy survive?
He did, but why the fuck would you show the footage?
To show, yeah, I remember that footage. That shit's wild.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know why that was in my head today, but there you go.
Whoa, what's wild is like that video kind of lives rent free in my head.
Fucking seriously.
Right? You too? It's like a 90s kid. It's like a 90s kid thing.
Must be. Y2K energy, buddy.
Yeah, maybe we should do that show. That's a good one. Yeah. So until then, we'll let our good friend, the former host of Sightings, Mr. Tim White, lead us out.
No mystery is closed to an open mind.